So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live Thursday show. It's recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I'm working in the Linda Ravenscroft's Fairy and Fantasy art book, and this is on 300 GSM paper, so it's very good quality watercolour paper. And I'm going to be a bit naughty for two reasons. I've worked in the first one, there's a couple of videos. I think this was Hydrus, and I can't remember what that was, some kind of watercolour. But the next one is going to be very dark, and the next one is like my mushrooms, so I don't really want to do those two, so I'm being rather naughty and breaking my New Year's resolution, which is must do the next page in numerical order. But this one's called Rio by Linda Ravenscroft, so she's obviously a Rio girl, and she's got feathers coming out of her hair and all sorts. So I thought I'd have a play. Oh, sorry, I keep saying that. I would use my new set of Windsor and Newton watercolour markers. Now there's quite a few in this set, but I actually bought, while I was in Glasgow a couple of months ago, I bought a set of 6 colours, because I buy 6 colours because with these 6 colours you can make every colour in the rainbow. So I've got my favourite lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, Elysian crimson, French ultramarine and cerulean blue. And these are my favourite 6 colours that you can make every colour under the rainbow. You can actually do it with 3, but 6 is easier because French ultramarine is a bit of a pain, and you do need the French ultramarine if you want to have a nice purple. So those are the 6 colours that I like to buy in any water-based medium, oils, acrylics. Just 6. But for some reason Windsor and Newton didn't have a French ultramarine, so I bought the cerulean blue, or cerulean depending how you want to say it, and I also bought the next one I could find, which was dioxidine purple. And if you mix these two together you get a French ultramarine. Now it's not a true French ultramarine, but it's the colour. It's a purple blue, or a blue purple, and the blue purple is what we need to make purple, but obviously we've got purple in it. So I bought my lemon yellow, my cadmium yellow, my cadmium red, my Elysian crimson, my cerulean blue, and I bought purple. And I thought, well, that's okay, I can live with that because I can make my purple blue, and every blue in between, cobalt, every blue I can make with these 2 colours. And they cost, I think, £3.80 each from Cassart. They weren't £4 each, I remember. And then I found online a set of 12 for almost the same price. So my daughter is, my middle daughter, as I tell everybody, is doing illustration animation. She has a set of my chameleon blendable markers, but she doesn't have any watercolour markers. So I think as an extra little present, because she's 20 in a couple of months, I shall give her the set of 6. Although she's not into colour mixing, I had to teach her colour mixing because nobody could teach them colour mixing, so she's borrowed my colour books. So actually thinking about it, I might give her my set, because in this set there is my colours plus Prussian blue. Now Prussian blue is probably, you make the dioxide purple with cerulean blue, and you will make an ultramarine. Ultramarine and some more of this blue, and possibly a touch of complementary colour to darken it, will make a Prussian blue. Hooker's green is a very dark green, so you want a purple blue, and you want a warm yellow. That gives you a dull dark blue. A green, sorry. A bright green, you want lemon yellow and cerulean blue, because these are the two colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel, and they give the brightest secondary colour, which is green. Yellow ochre, I think I made the brown and then I put a touch in to make yellow ochre. There is a black, ivory black. If you want grey, you make French ultramarine, or take French ultramarine and put burnt umber to it, or Van Dyke brown, a very dark cold brown. Mix it with French ultramarine and you will get Payne's grey. Never buy Payne's grey, you don't need to. If you make it slightly more bluer, you get almost an indigo, and if you make it browner, you get Van Dyke brown, which is a tone darker than burnt umber. So you can make lots of colours with just a few. So I'm thinking actually I may give her the full set, because I can make these quite easily. But it's quite a nice little set, and this is normally a good colour combination. But if you have those first 6 colours, there isn't a colour on the planet you cannot make. And remember, with a watercolour, to make it lighter, you add water. With acrylic and oils, to make it lighter, and gouache, you add white. But I don't have white. I wouldn't have white, and I certainly probably wouldn't have black, because I love to make my own blacks. I make reddy blacks, I make purple blacks, I make greeny blacks, by mixing complementary colours together to make greys, and then adding the third complementary colours, or 3 primaries, to make a black. And the only difference is that if you want a reddy black or a warm black, you add slightly more red. If you want a bluey black, you make slightly more blue, and if you want a purple black, you have a bit more purple. So you can make your blacks, but you can change them. It's still a black, but it's a warm black or it's a cold black. So if you have a very dark tree, instead of using black for a very dark shadow, just make a reddy black, because it would look a lot better than just putting stark black on it. So I've mixed together. Now, one colour that is always in a good set is yellow ochre. It's always a good one. So if you want to buy a spare, yellow ochre is always good. So these particular water markers, I've got a bullet tip and a brush tip. So that's the bullet tip, and this is the bullet tip. So we want yellow ochre and Elysian crimson. And then we want some water. So I've wet that in the middle, so I'm going to take a little bit of that, a little bit of yellow ochre, and making slightly darker colours. So that's a peachy skin colour. So if we want a pinkier one, we just add slightly more, not too much. Elysian crimson's one of the strongest ones going, but add more water. We can have stronger skin tones if we want. We can have very strong tone colours if we want. So we've got, just with these 2 colours, we can make lots and lots and lots of skin tones. I think what I might do is, that is a 5 and it sits in here, so I think I might pull that out and stick it to the top of there, I think. I was also thinking, this is a very cheap, somewhere along the line I found this. It's a little bit bigger than the tin, and I'm tempted to cut 1/4 of an inch off it at that end. and gluing that to the top as well. I think that would be quite good. So I haven't had too much of a play with these. So we've got this skin tone, and I love this #1 Derwent brush. You squeeze and you still don't get too much colour out. So we want to work quite wet, and we can do, because this is 300 GSM. So I'm going to start on the nose, and it's a grayscale, so it's always easier. I think I'm just going to go with this. Now, it was a bit darker than I wanted, but actually it's worked out quite nice. What we don't want is lines. So that's worked out quite well. And if I don't activate the brush too much, it's going to really give me just the colour that I'm picking up. So I'll zoom in and you can see a bit better what I've done. But you can work quite wet in this book. So I'll zoom in and I hope we're still in good focus. I think we are. So you can see just that hint of colour. It's a bit stronger on reality, but just bear with me. I'll just see if I can see if we are. Yep. We're not blurred. So I've got this colour. I'm going to do it on the ears, and I think that's the only. There's no hands, so there's the neck. So move down. So we can actually be a bit stronger. So we're mixing all these together now. So we really want to go in fairly quickly, because we don't want any lines, and we haven't got any. And again, it's slightly darker than the face colour because it's a darker area. So these are kind of like mother of pearl colours, so they may have a bit of pink to them. I think this particular page you're going to have to just pick things off and go for it. So I think we're going to do these green. So I've got two greens. I've got two greens that I've used in this set. We've got, I think that's sap and that's hookers. Yeah, two very traditional old greens, very, very good. If you see these in a set, you'll know that the set is quite good. So I'm going to put a little bit of the green there. Now I don't like hooker's green, it's a bit too strong for me. I'm normally a sap girl, but I like to put greens out, but I also like to put my yellows around, because adding an orangey yellow to a green makes an olive. And I'm going to put a little bit of cerulean blue there as well. Not going to bother with the purple. I would put French ultramarine if I had it. So I've got the two greens. So first of all, I'm just going to mix two greens together, about 50-50. And go back to my little colour swatch, see what happens. I kind of like that. That's almost like a pea green. I like that a lot. So for this particular, and I've probably got enough to do two plants, I'm going to mix these two together. I do like that. I like that a lot. It's taken off that, what I call fake green, so I like that. So again, it's grayscale, so there's nothing you can really do to damage it too much. I'm just going to touch this one. Now I've started at the bottom because as I move up, this paintbrush is being activated by just teasing the end of the bristles, but what it's doing is getting paler and paler, and I'm not having to do anything to it. I'm not adding water, I'm not adding, I think I'm going to go behind there first. Oops, sorry, next door's woofers having a moment. So if you do all the darkest ones first, you should find what happens quite naturally. They get paler and paler until eventually there's hardly anything there. So I've done that. Now I can change that slightly, and I can mix a bit of lighter colour with that if I want to do it. But sometimes you find you change the colour of it, so I think we've got away with it though. So the ones that are kind of in more light are a little bit brighter, so we have a little bit of a difference. And sometimes I kind of like that. I might just move out a little bit more. Because this is a very easy way to work. So we'll just go across there and we'll start with this one. So we've got our green here. And we'll start at the back. And it's very nice. It's a very soft way to work. Very quick is this. It's just a really nice way to work. And they look the same. If you want to just add that little bit of yellow, maybe just to that one, because it's kind of the wrong way around. Just for a little bit of difference. There's a feather there, so I'm not sure what to do with the feathers. The flowers are coming out of the bottom, these two are here, so I'll do those next. So really need a damp baby wipe. And I use jam jar lids. They seem to be perfectly okay for that. Oops, has anybody got any questions? I think chat is being a bit slow on Ustream at the moment, so apologies girls if you're asking me things and I'm ignoring you. So I like those reds, so we'll have a quick look. We've got the cadmium red, and I may as well pop it here because I'm not going to be using that flesh tone again. I think I'll do half and half because I like that for mushrooms normally. So we've got half cadmium red, half alizarin crimson. Now if we put cadmium yellow, look, so we can try this colour here. So when I'm looking at my toadstools, I find that cadmium yellow is too orange, sorry, cadmium red is too orange, and alizarin crimson is too pink. But 50-50, I like that as my mushroom colour. So it's not too pink and it's not too orangey. But if we add that mix to cadmium yellow, we get a beautiful pinky peach colour. So I think I'm going back to this colour. So again, it's quite watered down. And grayscale is so easy because all the shadows, all the tints, all the scale has been done. All you're doing is just putting a flat colour on, because all the hard work's been done for you. So we could even just do it like this. And of course we can work quite wet if we want to, because this paper will take quite a lot of water. So I'm tempted to make this one a little bit lighter. And there's always that lovely soft, gentle flow of water. So I think this isn't going to be probably not carnival. It's very uncarnival colours for me. So she has a headset. This is a purple and green peacock feather. So again, we want a little bit of purple in here. So we'll put the purple there. And we'll put cerulean blue there. And we'll add a little bit of this hooker's green. And when we put these two together, we should get a phthalo green. And it's more like a viridian actually, but it's quite a nice colour, is that? So I think I'm going to put that down here and then slowly go into the purple. So we've just got a nice soft hint of purple. Now, because we've got this purple in its neat form, it's amethysty, I think you'd say, maybe, oopsie, sorry, amethyst. So I think we're going to use these as amethysts. And again, it's quite nice because we start with one it's the bubble ones I'm doing at the moment, so these are up here. You can hardly see this purple, but it is there. The others are quite pale, but these are further away and darker, so you can make a nice purple with a French ultramarine or a purple blue and Elysian crimson. If you don't have a purple, if you want to make a purple pinkier and you have a purple, add Elysian crimson. If you want it to be a blue purple, add French ultramarine. If you want a dull purple, so you want a really kind of grungy dark shadow, add its complementary colour. Which is yellow. A tiny touch of yellow to a bright purple will dull it down. A tiny touch of orange on blue will make a really nice dull colour, and that's where you get I kind of like this colour now, it looks quite nice. That's where you get, bear with me 2 seconds while I remember what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Indigo blue. Indigo blue is a blue, I would say 50-50 cerulean blue and French ultramarine with a touch of orange in it. The same with an orange. If you have an orange colour, you can tell I'm not being very wet because they're dried almost immediately. So you could probably do this page in a couple of hours. Just really, really easy to do. And you don't have to think about what colour, what side the shadows are. Put that down there, we'll do those next. So I've still got a little bit of purple on here, so touch that purple. And although it's drying, I can reactivate it with the damp brush. And because it's professional watercolour, it instantly glides back to being a watercolour. And when it's getting a bit pale, add a bit more marker to it. But I think I might get away with this. I think I like these a little bit paler. Again, I can always go over if I want to a bit later. So I've got some more greenery up there, so I'm going to leave the bit of purple that's on there, and it's darkened that green. Let's see what we get. So we've almost made a hooker's green actually, so I'm going to put a little bit more green out there. I'm going to put some yellow as well, and I'm going to put a little touch of cadmium red, and in theory we should have a nice green. We have an olive colour. Now normally I wouldn't work that wet, but we can get away with it, so let's put that next to our greens. We have an olive colour, because yellow and cadmium yellow and cadmium red make the brightest orange. Orange onto green makes... Oops, sorry, I've just got a bit of a flashed out. Oops. Better, sorry guys, that's better. So we've got our olive green and we're doing that top corner. Oops. And again, you don't have to do anything, because when you hit the lightest one it goes lighter, and the darkest one goes darker, because the grayscale's already been done for you. It's quite good because you're practicing your colour mixing. This is where you can actually, because you can't actually do anything with the actual pattern, you can do a nice bit of colour mixing. So across, oh my goodness, sorry, across there to do the other side. It's drying under my lights, but it should be fine. Now you could do this in a colour book page, but you wouldn't be able to work quite as wet. You'd have to use a baby wipe and just have a barely damp brush. Then you could do this quite easily. It's just so nice to use a nice wet watercolour. Haven't a clue what to do at the background, but I think I'm going to finish it all before I decide, because we've got lots of these little kind of bubbly effects. I think that's a gold mask, so let's have a look and see if we can do gold next, I think. So twist the water out, and a little bit of that olive was still in there, I think. I think the shells are kind of white, but I might leave those to last. We've got some birds here. I could possibly do some purple and cerulean blue. That would be quite nice, I think. I might do the gold mask. So the gold mask, I think I'm just going to use cadmium yellow. I don't really think I want to... I'll put some yellow out. I may want to lighten it a little bit, but I don't think I need to, because of course I've just forgotten. So I've mixed both those two together, and we'll start here. So again, it's definitely a golden mask, I think. So we need to make sure we get some nice gold on the highlighted bits. Perhaps a bit duller on the rest. So they would be proper ivory fangs. That's a mouth, so I'm just going to do this bit here. Gold, and that's kind of a horn coloured. I think we're going to have a bit of a pinky mouth, so and maybe the gums a little bit warmer inside. I think that's a horn, so a horn colour is going to be a touch of black, I think. It's giving it a bit of warmth, is that? And then very carefully for a highlight, go over the top. I think I might just give that a bit of something. She wants a jewel in her the middle of her head, so I'm going to give that quite dark. So anything you want really dark, you can touch with the brush on the end, and that's what I did. I just touched the end. That makes those bit stronger. Whoopsie, just gone over her face a little bit. So again, you can do this anywhere. So you squeeze the water out and twist so it's clean. Maybe some orange feathers maybe next. So we want some cadmium red. Cadmium yellow, they make the brightest yellow. Sorry, the brightest orange, beg your pardon. So I can put that. It's a really nice tangerine orange. We'll put that one there. So I think we're going to do this section here. It's a little bit too strong for me. It's too tangerine-y, but I've started it now. And I think I'm going to put yellow around there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put yellow. Just very carefully just keep making sure that you stay off the lines. I think I might try and put some darker colour down there, but I'm not quite sure. So we're getting brighter. So we go across to this side. Oh, use that one. So again, we've got the cadmium yellow and the cadmium red. So you can pick out all the different ones you want, and then again you can go over this one because it's watercolour paper, so we don't have to worry about going over things and rubbing things and doing things, because it's going to be really well behaved. So we've got this kind of I've used half of this, but luckily it was 50-50, so it was a really good mix, because it means I can always mix it again. Sometimes you've got to mix extra. So we can always try to get this one again without too much difficulty. So apologies for Alfie, Grumpy Pig is asleep. So just you can leave these pale if you want to, or we can add to them. I think we may leave those. So back to this side, and I need my cadmium yellow and cadmium red. Sorry guys, cadmium red, oopsie, and cadmium yellow. Now, a word of warning, do be careful because I got quite a lot of red on my yellow pen, so it was a bit kind of so it's fairly quick to do. I probably will go in there with a different colour and darken things up a little bit, I think. This is kind of too easy really. You need to put a little bit of effort in. It's a beautiful colour book. It was my birthday present from Tracy. I think I've got a little bit, yeah, I think I've got a little bit down here that's the same kind of, so I think I just put a touch of that in there. So, that's my cleaner. The other nice thing about this water brush, which I shall, if you unscrew it, you can see it doesn't have a lot of water in it. It's down here. So if you squeeze it, turn it upside down and put it in your water pot, let go, it half fills, squeeze it again, let go, there's more in it, squeeze it, let go, it's full. So 3 squeezes will fill it, and then you just have to dry it and put the top back on, and it's now full. So it's very easy to fill. Some of the other ones are a bit too hard to squeeze, and I like to put the end on the end there so you don't lose it. I think I'm going to have a bit of cerulean blue, maybe dark purple. I think we need a bit of something. It's looking rather boring. So I think I want to liven it up a bit. So it's a bit wet, is that for these birds, but I think we'll just make them cerulean blue. In fact, I think we'll just touch the end, because we can be as wet and as colourful as we want on this paper. So I mean, if you really wanted, you could just do this as well, if you really wanted, and push the paint around. You can really do that with these markers. So put some colour on, completely melts into a watercolour. Pick that up and then I think we're going to have purple flowers next, so we can put purple here. And manipulate that round, and then here. We can do the same with the other side. Scratch a little bit of colour on. Manipulate it round. Oops, got that bit there. So we can brighten things up a little bit. It seemed to be rather quiet and boring colours considering how how bright everything is. I've been kind of subdued, so we'll have some brighter colours. So clean that purple off, and you can use it this way if you want. I wouldn't do that over your work, but I'm doing it to show you what I'm doing. Or if you want, if you wanted a stronger pink, start here. You can be as strong or as weak as you like. These are wonderful colours. You get some wonderful watercolour effects. Maybe just a bit more on that one. Of course, scoot across to the other side. So thanks guys for stopping by. I think chat's frozen, so apologies guys, chat's not playing nice. So again we scratch the colour in there and then manipulate that up. Do the same with this one. I'm not sure you could let this dry and then do it, but it is a watercolour, so some colour would come off. But I don't think it would be as good. But you could definitely dry some, because these are completely dry on here, but they will constitute back to colour. So that was the reddy pink. I'm thinking about this. Might do that a deep purple. We could really give it some light, but I actually quite like it pale. I do kind of like it pale. I'm thinking about red. We could take this yellow. Could use the bullet end, and we could draw around these. So this is using the bullet end. Now it's not showing bright yellow up, but it is bright yellow. It's lemon yellow, this one. So you've got quite a nice fine bullet end if you so wished. So these are really versatile. And as long as you didn't want the full set, they're not that expensive. It is quite a bright yellow, is that? And we want to go on the outside. And I say this is pure bright yellow, lemon yellow. So it is very, very yellow. And we have some more here, so I'll go around those as well. Now I have tried these and they don't go through. You can use them as a marker and they don't go through, and I think that's pretty cool. Oops, do that bit under there. That's pretty cool. You know, you're using a marker in a colour book page. I mean, how awesome is that? And it's not going to go through. So I think this could be one of my indulgences of buying half a dozen birthdays and Christmases, because they are sold individually. And then eventually you will have water-based markers that you can just use in a colour book. It doesn't have to be a watercolour book, which again I think is pretty cool. If you did this with an ordinary marker, it would just go straight through. I kind of like that. They're a bit paler, these, but I kind of like that. I might take, see now I've decided to play and maybe brighten up. Really brighten up some areas that is a bit dark, so if we can take some off and use it across the way. Yeah, you can push it about, you see, so that's quite nice. So we've brightened up the birdies. I think she can have blue eyes. So again, oh no, they look brown actually, but oh well, we'll make them blue. Yeah, she's got blue eyes now. She's got blue eyes. She has blue eyes. There seems to be a screen behind her. Oh, I found some more of these purple things here, look. So we need to scratch purple on here because that is slightly different. So let's scratch a bit of purple on there. I think the purple is very dark, very strong and very dark. It's a dioxidine purple, so it's very strong, so we do need to water this down a bit. And of course I've got to make that red and orange because that's the same. So that's all done, and you need some red and yellow, cadmium red. And cadmium yellow to make the orange tangerine colour. And that starts from here, I think. Now I think I'm tempted to go in a bit and darken some things. I think we need a bit more detail to it. I can't just leave it as is. I can't leave it as is. I have to do a bit of something with it. And that wasn't enough to do this side, so I need to make some more because it's getting paler and paler now. And I think I wanted it a bit more, a little bit brighter than that one. So apologies guys, I think chat's playing up. Let's see if that's... That's a bit strong, that, but we'll just about get away with it, I think. Those flowers, and then we've got some green that I'd forgotten. Go around with a yellow pen. So these are colours I've chosen are quite pale. There's nothing too strong, but these colours will do very strong colours. They will do very, very strong. Looks quite nice. So we want the lemon yellow. And I wasn't working very wet, so it's dried now. I think we're done. Oh no, I found some more. Goodness gracious, I found some more. Oh, we have some more, and some more green leaves as well. So we'll just take the purple and put that into there. I like the fact that some are different colours, they're not all the same bright tone. That makes it quite different. Oops, we've got one there. And we move across. And we've got two or three here. I think it's a combination of the brush drying out a bit. So then we want the greens, which I think this one was 50-50, wasn't it? Oh, this was the olive green. So the olive green was half hooker's green and half phthalo green, and then we had, actually it was cadmium yellow and cadmium red. And what that does is the cadmium red and the cadmium yellow make an orange, you make the green, and we put the two together to make an olive colour. So we need to put that around there. So it's the same colour, but because the grayscale's been done instantly, shadows there, it's all been done for us. And then we move across, and we do the same with the other one. It's quite nice not to have to worry about the brush being too wet. It's just a really nice, again, simple way to work, which is quite nice. So we've got, clean the brush, we've got the flowers again, so I think they were 50-50, weren't they? So scratch some cadmium orange, Elysian crimson, not very much, just enough. Mix those together, not squeezing really, because this is a darker plant here, it's a darker flower. So again, I just want to kind of make sure we've got enough colour on there to make a difference. It looked a little bit pinky, this one, but I think it's quite nice for pale, even though it's supposed to be carnival colours. I think it's quite nice. that it's not in your face. And I've just found some more peacock feathers. So we've got some more peacock feathers. There we go, 2. So we had purple and that was green, I think. That was green. So let's see what we can do. So we'll just do a bit of green there. And we'll put some purple there. And we'll see what happens. So, oh, it's dried. There we go. So it has dried. Once it's dried, it doesn't come out to play then. So we can put some purple there, some green, and we can take that round there. So they won't come back if they're once lost. Clean the brush, and then we've got some more baubles. So we've got a bullet tip. So I'm going to scratch a little bit of purple. Get the brush. This is a purple, and this is purple. And that one's purple, I think. Oh, I might do the. I just caught that flower. It's got a little bit of purple on there. So we've got some shells to do. So it's very pale colours, they're not very strong. Oh, hi Topaz, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody popping in? Let me I'll pan out a bit and you can see how far we've got. So they're not strong colours, as in bite, strong. But I've got some quite nice colours because there's the feathers to do and the butterflies and the 2 shells. But it's taken me just over an hour. So, and it's dried. I haven't gone very wet. Oh, welcome back, Suzanne. So, oh, hi Mel. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else I've missed? I've been working in my Linda Ravenscroft Fairy and Fantasy art, and I've been using my my Windsor and Newton water soluble watercolour markers. So these are professional watercolours. And this is kind of 300 GSM, so it's very, very strong, but it's nice that you don't have to think about being too wet with your brush, so that's quite good. But the nicest thing about these markers is there is a brush end at one end, And I mean, you're not supposed to use them like this. This is just what I've kind of made up. You don't use them like this. I've just made this up today, scratching them on a bit of colour on a little plastic. You can do all sorts of things. You can use them wet on wet. They're used for all sorts of things. It's just, I kind of like them in colour books. And because you've got that bullet edge, you've got that strong control that, again, technically you never think about with watercolours. But these are very, very strong colours. So if it shows up, it's a very bright yellow. The reason they're muted is because one of these I've watered them down, and the other one is it's a colour scale, it's a grey scale. So there's a lot of grey going on underneath, like the feathers, that one's completely covered. So it doesn't matter what colour I put on there, it's going to be that colour. I've seen a lot of turquoise. I haven't had a lot of bright red. They're very, very strong. Now, I did try to put them on neat, and they don't run. They soak straight in. So the best thing to do is to scratch them on a bit of on a palette. Now I'm using a plastic palette because I find that's the best. So when we put these together, I'm using the Derwent water brush as well, because again that's quite I thought I might just do a feather. I might do this darkish feather here. Oops, I've caught the so this is 50-50 cadmium red and alizarin crimson, but it's quite dark. It looks almost a dirty red colour, and of course it's because it's on a grey scale. So you could do a page like this in a couple of hours easily. I wouldn't think there's too much to do. There's the background. But when I go back to my little colour swatch, that's the colour that I've been putting down. So it's quite a bright colour. I think I might like these pink. So we'll take alizarin crimson. And we'll water that down, and we'll test it. Oh, it's a very pale pink, so we'll get some more alizarin crimson out. I think we might just put a tiny touch of purple to make a purple pink. Ooh, that's nice. Yep, it's a pinky purple, is that? That's quite nice. I think we'll do those shells. So it's very quick this way because of the grayscale. Everything's been done for you. And it's nice to work quite wet. Now this is the biggest space, but I probably wouldn't use a bigger water brush. This is the number 1 Derwent. Oh, I kind of like that. I might pick out some of these ready bits with some cadmium red. So I'm just going to scratch a little bit of cadmium red. I'm not going to clean the brush. I'm just going to see what that's like. Cadmium red. And I think I'm just going to go through these little markings and kind of make them an orange red. And I think this is another nice, really easy way to work, and you don't have to worry about water. So I'm going to very carefully zoom up here. I've got one or two bits on here. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with the background, so I'm going to leave that because I really don't know what I want to do. I really don't know what I want to do with the background. It's some kind of like a oriental screen. We've got some more here, so I'm just scratching a bit of colour out. Very easy to use are these, but you can use them directly on a watercolour and they don't go through like an ordinary marker would. So again, really like that. So I might use these in my mushroom colour book, which Suzanne bought for me, and a Bennett Klein as well, because you can get away with dry, but you've got some bright colours. But an ordinary marker would go through. Now the last thing, again, just I haven't wasted too much as well. So using watercolours, normally everything gets wasted. I just need this purple pink for this shell. I'd left this shell, I'd forgotten. This purpley pink shell. There's a couple of feathers and some butterflies and the background, and I think that is it. I think it's all done. Just found a little bit of that orangey red there that I'd missed. So again, it's a really easy way to work, and I love the fact that you're not wasting any. Oh, have I gone off again? Oh, hi Beanie, welcome to Bunny's Designs. So, thanks for watching. That's very quickly how I've used my Windsor and Newton watercolours markers. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching.